Welcome back, Custom Made family. It is Chandra and Jeremiah Coleman with you here once again. We are back as promised. Today we are going to share a little bit about what's been going on with us lately and why you kind of seen a pause in the videos and everything. So if you see some tears or anything like that, we don't apologize for it, but it is what it is. So you want to start? You want me to start? So some of y'all may have seen our previous, not the last video about the being at home, but our very last video before that was our testimony video. During that time, we found out we were expecting. As you all know, some of y'all may know or may not know, we have 4 children already. And the question was always, don't y'all want more? Don't y'all want more? Y'all should have one more. You only got one boy. He's going to be by himself. And it's never really been a thought for us. It's not something we desire to, was trying to do or expecting to do or whatever. But when we found out we were expecting, we were kind of in shock at first. But also excited. So we were really excited. Told our family, told the kids, everybody was excited. A lot of people were shocked because we, like I said, we always said that another child wasn't in the plans for us. According to us, it wasn't something that we wanted or desired. We were just fine with our beautiful 4 that we have. And so when I started to tell friends and family, it was a big shock. So we were expecting. And that we found that out towards the end of December. And the pregnancy everything was going fine as far as I could feel physically. I mean, there wasn't any morning sickness or anything like that. The headaches that, you know, if some of you women have had babies, you know, the migraines that come and the eating everything that comes and the gaining of weight, everything was going what looked like normal to us. So we went to our first appointment to confirm the pregnancy, and everything was fine. And before we could go back to our second appointment, I started to spot. So I really wasn't alarmed at first, because I know sometimes some people say you can spot in between or whatever when you're early on. So I wasn't really alarmed. Called the doctor, everything was fine. She said, just come in your next appointment, drink lots of water, rest that day. She's like, if you're not cramping, you're not hurting, just come in, which my appointment would be that very next day. And went to the appointment, and they couldn't find a heartbeat. So we talked to them, and they were saying that I was having what they called a spontaneous miscarriage. But at that point, if you know me and my husband, we'll believe down to the wire. Like somebody can say that ain't no breath in it, but we're going to believe until we see otherwise, or, you know what I'm saying, and expect God. So that's what we did. So we expected God to move, and we still believe, but we also had that mindset, God, even if.
Yeah, even if you don't, God.
Even if you're still God. But we had the faith to believe that we would hear a heartbeat when we went back to the doctor. So we went back through that whole weekend and whatever. And on January 31st, I had a full miscarriage in a hotel room with my daughter. She was there with me. It was one of those things where I started off angry with God. I did. In that moment, I was angry. I said, God, I didn't ask for this. I didn't even want to be pregnant. I didn't desire another child, but you allowed me to experience this love and carrying this thing inside of me and this life inside of me. So why would you give me something then take it away? And I didn't understand at first. I just prayed and I cried, but through that, I understood and I come to have a peace with the sovereignty of God. God knows best. He knows my end before my beginning. He knows the middle. He knows what it would have been 10 years from now. He knows what would have been 9 months from that moment. He knows all of that. And through that, there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of frustration. But in those days to come, God set such a peace in our lives that I told a lot of people, like when I went and told back, like family or friends, a few people that I did tell, when I went back and told them what happened, I was like, I feel guilty for the peace that I do have. I felt so bad that I was okay, like peacefully I was okay, but I was still mourning, if that makes sense. But that was part of the reason why you haven't seen much of us. A lot of people saying, well, you were just a few weeks. I know a lot of people say, well, are just a few weeks when you have a miscarriage or whatever happens. And, well, you really didn't, it really wasn't a baby. After experiencing that, I do not feel that way. You're carrying a life inside of you, and you mothers that know that for carried children, the moment that you find out that you're carrying something, it becomes dear, and you can't explain the bond that you already have with it. So it was, I lost a child. That's what happened. And that's why you haven't seen a lot of us on here. We kind of just pulled away for a second just to wrap our mind around that and to grieve. And to grieve in a place of understanding God's sovereignty and understanding his power and understanding still his love that he has for us. Because it wasn't expected. I know a lot of times you don't really hear, or a mother of having 4 children already, that was something that was totally unexpected. It wasn't something that we thought that could happen or was expecting to happen or even crossed our mind. So when it did, it took us by total surprise.
Yes.
So, but I think through that, like I said, we learned the sovereignty of God. We learned a new level of the peace of God.
Yeah.
And
we just had so much peace. He granted so much peace during that time. So if you ever went through anything like this, guys, know God is still in control once again, and he's there. I actually was ministering in Soperton, Georgia, that week that happened, and my wife just felt the unction to stay in the hotel room while I went out to the schools, and then we had a big youth rally that night, and I believe you called me right before.
I called him right before everything occurred.
Yeah, right before I had to go up and minister, and I don't think she told me then. You didn't tell me then, but I kind of knew what the call was about, and but right then I just felt God give me that peace and the okay to continue to minister, and ministry went strong that day, and God got the glory that day, and people were saved that day, and I said, I know a life may have just been taken, but that day and that ministry night, lives were given that night. New life, new birth in Christ was given that night. So I was satisfied. We were satisfied with what God had done and what he did. And he's a loving God, y'all.
We got to that peace eventually. And I mean, there are still times where like we would see a baby in the store and I would start to cry, or even one time I think he was at Javen's basketball practice and he began to hear a baby cry and he just started to weep. So I know that God can give peace in that type of situation, but he also understands that we have emotions, that we have pain sometimes that we have to deal with, and he's there through the midst of all of that. And I've just come to understand that, you know what, I don't know every single plan. I won't understand every single thing. And I have to trust his will. And that's one of the things that I told my husband. I said, from the day that I went to the doctor, there was like a 5-day period in between, that 5-day lull where we were still believing that God was going to send that heartbeat back. We were believing for life. We were believing for that. But that 5-day lull, I told Jeremiah one thing I refused to pray was, God, let your will be done. I would not pray that for 5 days. But finally, on like that 6th day, I was like, okay, God, whatever your will is, let it be so. Because I don't know the situation. I don't know what my child would have had to deal with or what I would have dealt with. I don't know what that would have been like. But God knows. He knows. He, like I said, He's sovereign. He understands. He knows the beginning from the end. We don't know everything. Even though we may want to think we know everything and we have everything planned out and we got everything just, mapped out the way we want it to, God is sovereign and He knows. He knows. I can't say enough. He knows exactly what He's doing. And through that, He's still faithful. And when you go through things like that and a loss or, hard situations there where pain seems unbearable, you have to trust and know that God is God. We're not. He's God, and He's faithful to bring us through. He's faithful to be our peace. He's faithful to be our comfort. And have peace in that. And I know sometimes it gets difficult, but we still have to understand that He's like I said, He's God. And He knows.
I hope this builds your faith for many people that questioning God sometimes. They have, just questioning God and the decision that we feel God makes that kind of don't go to what we hope
like God
for.
made a bad call.
Yeah. But man, He's good. We here today. We're smiling. We're strong. I encourage you guys the same. Be strong and know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord, and this had worked together for the good.
Yeah, and we've just begun to see how God has worked in this. This is just the beginning. There's gonna be something on down the line where God will still use this situation, and sometimes God sees something in us that we can carry certain things, and it's not for us. It's for those that we were ministered to, those that we're called to. And when He sees it when He sees you have the anointing to carry that, it gets tough sometimes, but all glory be to God. I'm just a vessel. I mean, like I've said before, when I gave my life over to Christ, my life isn't mine anymore. I mean, I have the choice to make decisions, but my ultimate goal is to make decisions that please the Lord. And I also just want to encourage mothers out there that have dealt with this. Those who may have, the doctor might have said that you're barren or anything like that. Just know that I am praying for you. This has placed something in me where I've had the desire to pray and seek God for women who have dealt with this or who have had miscarriages or they have, tried to conceive, but it just hasn't worked out. I am praying for you continually, believing for your wombs to be open in Jesus' name, and that God's going to touch your womb and He's going to give you that child that you've been praying for. I'm believing with you and that we love you, and really this video is just to let you know that God can use anything. He can use the ugliest, hardest, most painful situations and turn it around for His good.
Amen. All the time. So we bless you guys. We bless you guys.
Yes, Jesus.
Thank you guys for watching, and have faith. Be encouraged. In Jesus' name. Amen.
We are adding to
it's one more box.
Wait, we still one more. Oh no, we are adding to the family.
Alright, line up.
Mama, you're pregnant. It's okay. Just tell us. I told you. Mama, ew. That's a lot of kids. Mama, y'all
not happy?
Yo, pee there. It's pee. Good job.
Bree, how do you feel? You sad?
I'm scared.
Why are you scared?
Scared.
This is not the reaction I was expecting.